Hey everyone, Kristen David here, and I am so excited to be joined by one of my coaches that I've worked with for years, Dennis Cummins from Pro Speaker Academy. Many of you that have been around me know of Dennis or have worked with Dennis because he's a rock star and amazing. By way of quick introduction, let me just tell everybody, I first met Dennis at an event with probably 600 people in the audience, and he's up on stage, and 2-3 hours in, he's got everybody in the room full attention, captivated. And I turned to my significant other at the time and said, I want to work with that guy. And he was like, who? And I was like, that guy. And he's like, the speaker, the trainer? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, you're crazy. And I was like, no, I want to work with this guy. Like, this is going to be great. And poor Dennis, I came up to him at every break, which now I know is a big no-no because they're tired and coming off stage, the last thing you want to do is talk to a crazy woman. And after about 3 days, I was relentless about wanting to work with him. And he finally said yes. And we did, I think just a couple months after that, Dennis, I did my first VIP day with you.
In Chicago.
In Chicago, which was life-changing for me. Taught me to get out of my shell as an attorney and to learn how to speak with an audience and have a little more fun. And then I've done a bunch of stuff with you over the years, but you've really transitioned to helping so many more people these days. A lot of professionals like myself who are inside our little box and inside our head and don't know how to do anything the right way until we learn from someone like you. And so anyways, I'm so excited to have you on. Tell us a little bit about the business currently and what you're working on.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me with you today on Facebook Live. And I also need to thank you for something else because you've actually kind of started me on a new path as well. Because I worked a lot with business owners and kind of new business owners and entrepreneurs, teaching them how to speak. Because speaking is always it's one of the top fears that people have. But after I worked with you, you introduced me to some of your attorney colleagues and clients and associates at the time. And I really kind of found a home in that legal industry, because the results were so dramatic for them. And one of the things I always like is, listen, I want to teach you how to speak. I want to teach people how to be comfortable doing it and how to promote their business. I also want them to all have fun at the same time and make money, like have a return on investment for coaching and working together. And I haven't worked with any other group that's gotten like consistently the dramatic result as with lawyers, with attorneys. So, and all of that really started with you, so thank you for your, you're pestering me in the beginning. But I have to tell you, it's been amazing working with you over the years and seeing all the stuff that you've accomplished as well. So, kudos to you. And for those of you that are working with Kristen now or thinking about it, just do it. She's brilliant at what she does. I mean, her ability to organize and plan and set you up with a system for success, there's not many people better at what she does. So, you guys are on the right channel right now.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Kristen, you were kind of asking like, how do I get started? What can we do today? Here's what I'd love for us to do today is just help the people watching learn a few simple strategies that they can implement right now to grow their businesses. This is my observation. After running 2 chiropractic practices for over 23 years and being a professional trainer for the last dozen or so, traveled all over the world, different industries, different businesses. The biggest problem that I see people have is that no one knows who they are. And nobody knows what their business is. There's a lot of people, them, I know them, who have great businesses and they provide really valuable services, but nobody knows who they are. And their biggest challenge, and tell me if this is true with the people you coach, their biggest challenge is, how do I get new clients?
Yes, absolutely.
All the time.
Absolutely.
How do I get it? So, and everybody thinks the answer is throwing money at advertising. or throwing it at some sort of third party marketing venture, and they have all these different types of marketing systems that they're going to throw in. Maybe it's internet marketing or direct mail marketing or radio or television. And do they work? They do. But very often the return on investment isn't so high. And for me, this has been, this is how I built my offices and created tremendous success in them. And this is how that I help current business owners do that. There is no better way to develop your business than to just actually tell people what you do, tell them how you help, and tell them how they find you. It's that simple. There's not like a big secret to it, but people are afraid, right? They're, despite how smart they are, and attorneys are wicked smart. The doctors that I work with are incredibly intelligent. It's not a lack of intelligence, but what I found is that there's just a lack of understanding. Like, how does public speaking work? How do you do it? And how do you get over those fears? That's really it, right?
We don't know what we don't know. I mean, law school never taught us this stuff. Medical schools never teach any of this stuff. No. And once you know the framework, it is easy, like you said, but most of us don't have that framework. So are you going to share some stuff with us here?
Sure. I'm going to share three big points. So, listen, I'm publishing a book right now that will have, there'll be a second edition specifically for attorneys, but it's going to be the same information inside with just a few tweaks for the attorney groups in there. It's called Non-Professionally Speaking.
Good.
Right? Because I always say, my company is called Pro Speaker Academy. And the thing I hear all the time is, I don't want to be a speaker. I get it. I know you don't. I don't want you to be one either. What I want you to do is to be able to share your business. I want you to be able to help more people. And so that non-professionally speaking, it's how attorneys and professionals turn small talks into really big profits. And I have seen it over and over again where people do, they do a single talk and they get 4 clients from it. 16 people in a room, 4 of them become paying clients the next day. I have another gentleman that I worked with he said he did 2 talks, and those 2 talks resulted in about $100,000 in revenue for his company. And you were at the event when he stood up and told us that. Like, dude, you do 2 small talks and put $100K in your pocket. Yeah. That's cool stuff. So how do you do it? So for those of you that are listening, there's 3 things that are really critical. The first one, I'm going to keep them really simple. First one, you got to open strong. So assuming you're going to do a talk, and I recommend that you do, the opening is the most critical part. And Kristen, you can tell them your story. Kristen and I worked together for 2 full days. We spent a day and a half of those 2 days working on the first 3 minutes of her talk. And Kristen's like, are we gonna get to anything else? Are we gonna do anything else? But let me ask you a question, Kristen. In retrospect, and when you go out and talk now, how important are those 3 minutes?
Oh my God, it's amazing. I don't even have to think about that first 3 minutes anymore because I've done it so many times. You drilled it into me until it was like ingrained on my brain, and that it took the fear away. So when I go out, I know exactly, I'm confident about those first minutes out on stage, and then I kind of get into my flow and can move into the other content. So as much as I was irritated, I was like, how many times are we going to practice this intro?
I'm paying this guy a lot of money, and we're not past 3 minutes yet. This is really pissing me off right now. And by the way, I hear that all the time.
Yeah.
Because every event that I run, very often, it's the first 3 that's important. You mentioned something earlier, and you said, you were in the room with your partner, and you said, after just like a half an hour or so, he had the whole room was like 600 people eating out of his hand. There's a reason for that. It's because the opening was strong, and you have to know what to do. So for the opening, just remember this. Remember who you're talking to and why you're there. You're there to provide value. You're not showing up at a room to be the superstar. You're showing up to serve the people in the room. And I think if you remember that, it's really neat. when I say open strong, that means I want you to be really confident in the beginning. And the reason for that is the beginning is when, as speaker, many people are very nervous. And now
Mhm.
I've seen you speak recently. You are not nervous anymore. You were when we worked together.
Yes.
But
Yes.
if you understand the system and you get some practice, that nervousness, those nerves go away.
Hmm.
So a speaker being nervous in the beginning. Also in the beginning, the audience is skeptical. They don't know who you are. They've heard this story 1,000 times. It's, you just gonna sell me something, blah, blah, blah. And it's a recipe for disaster. If they're already skeptical and you look like you don't know what you're doing, immediately they decide,
Yeah.
I don't need to listen to you
Yeah.
anymore. Which is why having a really strong introduction is so important. So
Hmm.
there's three things that you can remember, and you can whack them, whiff them, and wow them. I just like to keep it simple. Whack them, welcome and congratulate. Just say, hi,
Yeah.
everybody. Welcome for being here. Hey, congratulations for making an awesome choice about your day today. That's it. It's that simple. Let them know you appreciate them being here. Whiff them, WIIFM. What's in it for me? Everybody sitting in the room is not there for my benefit. I
Yeah.
get that. They're there for their own benefit. So let them know what they're going to get out of it. By the end of today's 25, 30 minutes together with you and I hope you understand three really cool components, really critical components to help let people know about what you do and how you help so that you can grow your business. So what's in it for me? And then the wow them part is tell them about you. Tell them how cool you are. And by how cool you are, I do not care. And FYI, neither do your audience. They don't care about your degree. They don't care when you went to law school. They don't care about all your certificates and all your postgraduate studies and all your PhDs and bachelors and math. Nobody gives a crap about any of that. What they care about is that you help people like
Hmm.
them. So you can wow them by telling a story about people you've helped, about how long you've been in the industry without listing off. It's not a curriculum vitae, it's not a resume. This is a story about how you help and how your experience can help them. It
Hmm.
gives them a chance to realize that A, you are an expert, B, that you care and that you have a vested interest in what you're doing, and C, that you can help them because you've got some information.
Yeah.
And that's a really important part. So open strong, whack them, whiff them, wow them. Okay.
I love it.
Right. Nice and easy. And there's a few more
Yeah.
components to it, but that's the basics of it. The second part. So I kind of, the three parts is the beginning, the middle, and the end. So let's talk about the middle.
Yep.
Attorneys, pretty smart people. You guys got through law school. I only managed to get through a year of law school before I realized I was in the wrong place and I needed to go to medical school. It just wasn't for me. But you know what? Listen, I know how difficult it was. I sat in those rooms like you did.
Mhm.
You sat there longer than I did. It's not easy. It requires a tremendous amount of studying and intelligence to do that. And the tendency is for smart people like you to want to show people how smart you are and think that if you give them more and more and more and more and more information, you're going to serve them more.
Yeah.
In actuality, the exact opposite happens. What happens is you overwhelm them. They look at you as being so smart, you're too smart for me. And I can't even understand the words that you're using. Listen, I went to medical school and I took Latin. I understand a lot of the technical jargon for different medical diagnoses and codes and diseases. If I used those with my patients, they'd look at me like I had three heads. They wouldn't understand that. So I want you to remember for that middle, less is more.
Okay.
Teach them, focus on just teaching them three things, just three simple, usable, actionable strategies that they can, do something with. One of the rules, and you've heard me say this, Kristen, is whenever you teach somebody, whenever you are promoting yourself, and by the way,
Mhm.
this is a form of promotion. Whenever you promote yourself, I always want you to deliver value. I mentioned, internet marketing and Facebook marketing and direct mail marketing and radio and TV marketing. Well, the kind of marketing that I talk about is value marketing. I
Mhm.
want you to provide value. That's how you market yourself, by helping people. this is the important part right here, whether or not they decide to do business with you, you provide value anyway, all the time.
I can remember you teaching that to me, gosh, what was that, 5 years ago or so? And it was like, no matter what, you want every participant in the audience to walk out of there having learned something and gotten great value, whether they buy from you or not. Like,
yeah,
make
because
sure
here's
you
what happens.
deliver.
Yeah, even if they don't buy from you, even if they don't retain your services, they still walk away with a really great impression of you,
Mhm.
with some actionable information, something that's usable, by the way. And then if something comes up in the future, they're going to kind of remember that. Now, on top of that, so that's just being a decent human being and serving, and it comes back to you because of karma. But there's another little kind of psychological component to that of delivering value is reciprocity. When you deliver a ton of value to them, very often they didn't pay to be in a room. They just came for information. You delivered a ton of value. You gave them some real usable suggestions that they could use to help themselves. Now, obviously, as an attorney, there's a lot more help that they're eventually going to need, but you
Yeah.
gave them a path to get started, something to let their heart rest a little easier, to take the stress out of their minds. What happens is they're going to kind of walk away, even if it's subconsciously, with this kind of sense that, well, I owe you, right? You gave me something. People always want to give back. And that give back is going to come in the form of when they need your services or when they know of somebody who needs your services, mentioning your name or retaining them.
Mhm.
And it works. It just works. And you don't have to teach a lot. Like I said, choose 3 simple strategies that they can understand that can truly help them. Either let their minds rest a little bit easier. Maybe it's just a strategy that helps them not get any deeper in the hole that they're in. That's a great strategy, right? They're in illegal trouble. Just don't let them get into any more legal trouble until they're able to retain your services. That is
Yeah.
unbelievably valuable. And that's what I teach the attorneys that I work with.
Yeah.
So, number 1, open strong. Number 2, less is more. And number 3, finally, close with benefits. So when I teach, Kristen, one of the things we talked about, there's different kinds of talks. I do motivational speaking where it's just rah, rah, get everybody excited, which is wonderful. I do educational training. So I'm going to be in Florida next week doing a business training course, which is just purely teaching. Those are different kinds of talks. The one that I teach business owners how to do is called a call to action talk, which means at the end of it, you ask them to do something. For attorneys, it's real simple. You're either going to sign up for a mailing list or a newsletter or call the office to schedule a consultation. Sometimes they may actually want to retain your services on the spot, but a real simple one is just call for a consultation. Come in for a discovery visit. Come in to check us out, visit our office, sign up for my email. It's real simple. But when people talk about what they're going to do for you, very often, this is what business owners do. They list all of the services that they have. So it's like a menu of all the things that we're going to do. And that list, that menu is what I refer to as, those are the features. That's what you do. I have a really important advice for you right now. Please listen. Nobody gives a rat's ass about features. They don't. Here's what they care about. They care about what those features will do for them. So what they care about are the benefits. So you can tell them what you do, but you absolutely must tell them how it will be good for them to do that. That's the benefit part of them. And if you're able to explain to those people how what you do will help them, will maybe relieve them of a financial burden, will help them retain or to gain citizenship, will help them out of a legal dispute or an employment issue, or will help them with a personal injury issue. If you explain to them how your services will help them and either help them rest easier, have more peace of mind, have more money in their pocket, avoid jail time, you explain it as a benefit, and now you get them to buy in. And if you just do those 3 things, your ability to promote your office will skyrocket, whether you do it live or online or in an email. If you use that strategy over and over again, or if you get really good at it, I'm telling you, you will build your practices. It's incredible. So open strong, less is more, close with benefits. You remember that, and you are on your way to truly help, really exploding your practice, making a great practice, and even grow more.
Hold on, I'm putting these up here one more time. Close with benefits. So one of the things that I think happens is that and I know I've done it too, when you're talking and you see some blank stares in the audience and you think, oh, well, I'll just add more information. I'll give them more. And there's kind of like with the wow, I mean, you wanna give more. You wanna always, give them a little extra, but not necessarily vomit words all over their face. And so can you talk about how do you force yourself not to go overkill and get back into the features which are comfortable and just stay focused on those benefits?
A lot of it is planning, right? It's about having it's like having a template to work from. Now, yes. Kristen, when we work together, you have a template from me. Yes. Where we walk you step by step through. So you knew before you even started exactly what you were going to say. Yep. It's important to have that to keep yourself focused. You did mention something like if you're looking out at a room and you notice people are starting to look confused, that's a really important thing to notice. A lot of times as a speaker, you're so worried about what you are saying, you forget that there are people listening at the same time, right? And if you notice that people look confused, and we know what confused people look like, they make that face or they start to lose interest. If that starts to happen, just be a human being and go, you guys look confused. What did you miss? It's really simple. It's not like there's a secret sauce and there's this special recipe for it's just using common sense most of the time. If you see somebody's confused, you don't keep talking and you don't tell them more. You say, well, what don't you get? And you can do that to an audience of people. It makes you real, by the way, right? it makes you like another human being that actually pays attention to me, the listener. If you're talking to me and you see my eyes glaze over and I'm losing interest and I'm like, I make that face and you just keep going, I'm like, he doesn't even know I'm here. It's really just, one of the reasons that I think it's so important that you develop the skill of public speaking. And it's a skill. Nobody is born a great speaker, by the way. And I was horrible at it in the beginning, Kristen. You caught me 5 years into my career after about 4,000 hours of practice on stages. The first 1,000 were horrific. I mean, they were. I got good quick, but I worked really hard at it. But when I first started, even though I was good, I was very uncomfortable. I think to be good at this, you have to realize, I think you have to come from a place of this. I truly believe that, the people watching right now, I think that every one of you has a gift to share. In your practice of law, you change people's lives. In the events that I've done, I've had groups of attorneys where, anywhere from 15 to 25. And when I asked them why they did what they did, they all had a personal story about why it was important to them and how they wanted to either, prevent people from going through the same problems that they had. I think so often business owners, we forget about why we started doing something because we're just doing that thing. And we forget why it was important to us in the first place. Listen, law school wasn't easy, but you stayed in there for some reason.
Yeah.
And it was more than the money. It was more than, than just the prestige of it. There had to be something inside. And what I always want to teach people, when you're promoting your business, tap into that. Yeah. Allow what excited you about that to get out there. People will connect to that. And that's what's going to attract not just clients to your office. If you just want clients, you could spend millions and millions of dollars on ads and clients will come. But when you speak to them and you speak to them from the heart and you deliver value, you don't get clients. You get the right clients. You
Mhm.
get the ones, because
Well,
equally as important as getting the right people,
yeah,
you're also going to push away the ones that aren't right for
yeah,
you, because they're going to hear your message. They're going to hear you talk. They're going to feel who you are. And they're going, he's not the right person for me.
yeah,
That is equally importantly good to
yeah.
know, right?
Well, and it's when you do resonate with that right person and turn them into a raving fan, they're going to immediately go out and tell four more of their friends about what you do and how they should sign up. I actually, funny story, I just had a referral come in, and it was from someone I've worked with in the past who obviously talked me up because she told this woman, "Hey, you need to get on a consult with Kristen. You need to talk to her." I connected with the woman. She scheduled a consult. Before we even had the consult, she had already referred me another friend of hers just from the introductory information. And I was like, okay, clearly we're talking the same language, right? It was great. But yeah, you really resonate with people when you tap in with your own story. And my story was I used to be a slave to my business, working 85 hours a week, and I learned how to systematize it. I know you did the same thing in your chiropractic clinics, and
Mm-hmm.
you ran two of them successfully before you moved into full time doing the public speaking. Um, and people want that. They want to like, how do I get there? If someone else did it successfully, that's a great part. And so, yeah, I use that as part of my messaging all the time.
And it's a really interesting thing. People who are hiring you, yeah, they want to know what you do and they want to know that you're an expert. But what most people don't understand, and this is really true for professionals
Yeah.
like yourself and myself, what many people don't understand, or they just overlook, is that our potential clients and our potential patients and customers, they also want to know why we do it, but nobody says that and nobody talks about that.
Yeah.
And there's a really easy way to explain it in your beginning, or to drizzle it out through your talk. And just to as a point, I had an interview call the other day for a motivational speaking a gig. So somebody was going to hire me to do a speaking engagement here in Las Vegas. And I go through the questions, and I start out with not all about me. I go, before I even get started, what is it that you hope to get? Like, I make it about them right from the start. And they're like, oh my God, that's a great question. Yeah, it is a great question. You guys should be using that question too.
Yeah.
Ask your potential clients, the people that are coming in for consults, what would make a great outcome for you? And it
Mhm.
lets you know where to focus your conversation. And it lets you know right away, can you create that outcome for them? And if you can, well, then it's your job. It's your duty to help them out. And if you can't, it's your duty to refer them to somebody who
So
can.
that you
But
can.
at least you know that up front.
Mhm.
But I went through this whole thing. Then we talked about the what program I could run for them and all this stuff. And then she actually asked, and very few people will ever do it. She goes, how did you go from chiropractic to speaking? Like, and most people don't ask that. And I love telling them how, and I love telling the story about what it is, but very rarely do people ask, so
Yeah.
it's really, but they are interested in it. And
Mhm.
when you really tell them stories, you know, for those of you guys listening, really try to also not just overwhelm people with facts, but tell a story. If there's a fact, you learn that fact because of the way it showed up in a case that you handled in the past, or that fact came up in the way that you settled a disagreement, or an arbitration or something in another situation. Tell a story about that,
Yeah.
without disclosing names and maintaining confidentiality. But you can say, listen, I once had this case where this, and here's the lesson. So now the lesson and the fact comes across in the form of a story. And that's why, when we work on storytelling too. Like, how do you tell a story? How do you engage people? How do you, so
Yeah.
there's stuff to it. But once you start to do it, oh, by the way, I'm going to throw in rule number 4: have fun
Okay.
while you're doing it, right? There's
Love
no
it.
reason why this shouldn't be a
Yeah.
blast, no matter what the room. Listen, I've had stodgy, financial CEOs, I've had hospital administration, I've had teachers, I've had every industry. At the end of the day, they're just people like
Mhm.
us. And
Mhm.
I like to have fun. I like to
Yeah.
laugh. I like to tease people. I'm okay with getting teased. whatever
You
your
tell jokes.
personality
You
is,
tell lots of jokes on stage. I love those.
whatever your personality is, just bring it with you and
Yeah,
let people start to like not only
yeah.
what you do, but who you are. And you watch your business grow. It's magic.
That's awesome. So it is like the year of the books. I published my book a couple weeks ago, and actually I did the ebook in January, and super excited. My print book is coming out March 15th. So I'm getting ready for that. But you have a new book coming out, and I was excited to hear that because I loved the last book you published, which has been something I've written, Terrible to Terrific. I've read it several times. I've written about that book in other articles I've written, because it's that transition and that journey. But excited about the new book. Will you tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. Basically, the new book is exactly what we're talking about today, non-professionally speaking. This is for all the professionals. How do you use a small talk and create big profits? And knowing that many people don't want to be a professional speaker. You don't want to get up and be a motivational, like a Tony Robbins or a Les Brown or some amazing inspirational figurehead. I get it.
Yeah.
However, learning some of those basic skills about speaking, it will absolutely transform your business. And not only that, by the way, learning speaking and getting comfortable as a speaker does so much more for you. It increases your leadership skills. It increases your confidence. It increases your ability to communicate with everybody in your life, not just in front of a room. It increases your ability to critically think, because Kristen, you've spoken. When you speak, things don't always go the way you think they're going to go. And as a speaker, what it does is it forces you to think on your feet and to be adaptable. And it actually increases your critical thinking skills, which is unbelievably effective and helpful in business as well. So learning how to speak isn't just great for marketing. It's brilliant for marketing. But it does so many other things, which is why I get so jazzed about it, why I think it's so cool.
Well, so when is it coming out?
This should be out in about a month or so. I'm expecting the beginning of April. It'll be out on Amazon. So we'll have it out as hard copy, and we'll have the ebook, the Kindle version as well. But it'll be out ready to go.
Awesome. Well, make sure we know. I definitely will help you promote it. I'm sure it's like filled with lots of great nuggets that I've learned from you over the years. And there are just so many people that need to hear some of these things. And even just what we went over today, if they can take just a couple of those nuggets and actually start using them. But listen, I think there are people that have probably been listening and watching and are thinking, I want to get better. I want to hone my skill. They're kind of like the Kristen David of 10 years ago when I saw you in an audience, or maybe it was like 6 years ago, and I said, I want to work with that guy. How can people get a hold of you? What's going to be the best way to get a hold of you?
Sure. So, Kristen, here's what I have. If they go to denniscummins.com/consult.
Okay.
It's a link to my calendar, and here's what that works. If they sign up, there's a little bit of a questionnaire. This is a how can I help you call. It's not a sales call. It's not a, hey, this is how you sign up for my program call. So just so you know right up front. This is me spending about 45 minutes with you figuring out what pointers can I give you to move your business forward. Literally the same example that I just shared with you over the last 30 minutes is what I'm doing right now. I'm delivering value. If you decide, hey, you know what, I'd like to find out about what would I do to work with you, I'll tell you, but I'm not going to get on that call to make a sales pitch to you. I'm going to get on that call to see how I can help you move the marketing of your business forward. I'll do what I can to give you actionable, usable tips. I'll explain what I think you should do next, and then we'll part as friends. If you want to see about working with me in the future, fantastic. I'd always love an amazing, happy client that understands what I do and understands how I can help and actually wants that. Because, I don't want people who are a pain in the butt. There's always people that will become part of your community, and all they are is just, they don't like anything about it, and they resist all of it, and it's just a nightmare. I don't want to work with you. I don't, because I actually want to go to sleep with a smile on my face and wake up the same way without having a headache because I know I got to deal with somebody that day. This is
Yeah.
a great call for you to get to figure out who I am. I get to figure out who you are. And if we decide we want to work together in the future, fantastic. And if we don't, then we part as friends and you have a good impression of me because I delivered value. That's it. So just denniscummins.com/consult. That's
Okay.
all.
Awesome. I'm actually typing into the chat right now. Anybody is welcome to private message me. If you have any questions, I am happy to share my experience about working with you, Dennis. Let's see, like the second time we did a VIP day, I flew you to one of my events and had you watch and give me feedback, and help me hone my presentation and my skills. I've done workshops with you. I did a webinar workshop you did in Las Vegas that was awesome. I also did the VIP event with you, or I guess it was called a VIP event where we may or may not have gone up on the stratosphere and may or may not have jumped off the edge. I should have pulled that video. I think I have the video of you jumping off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what?
go
Because
ahead.
it's always so fun. And by the way, it's like, one, you were persistent in getting started. Now I can't get rid of you. But you know what? It's so rewarding to see. One of the reasons that, I truly believe that people have gifts to share. And that when we don't share them, that you cause suffering because you're not helping people, right?
Yeah.
I consider it my mission to help people get better at sharing their gifts. It's that simple. And here's the thing. Everybody thinks about, marketing my business or telling people who I am is about more money, more clients, more money. That's a great metric for success, but it's really not what it's about, because the only way you get more money is if you provide more service.
Mm-hmm.
So I think sales equals service. People and it's not just speaking that people are afraid of selling. They're afraid of telling people, I can help you, and you'd be a fool not to hire me right now because I'm exactly what you need. And now I'm not saying you should say it like that, but you have to come from that place of confidence where this isn't about me trying to make a buck. This is me trying to make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you flip that psyche about it, it's like I'm not forcing something on you. I'm inviting you to ask me for help.
Yeah.
And it takes all the pressure off selling, not just for the speaker, the seller, but it takes the pressure off for the client as well. And it makes it a more friendly engagement where I call it invitational sales. Rather than pushing something on somebody, you just invite them to be part of what you do.
Yeah.
And it's so much more organic. It's so much more peaceful. And it's so much more effective. It's ridiculous. So, it's just share what you do. The reason people aren't beating down your door is there's only one reason. They just don't know who you are.
Yeah.
Tell them. That's it. You just have to get out there and tell them. And all these skills would be great, but if you don't use them, they're no good either. Kristen, you hit the ground running. You right after we did our first training, you had an event and you you continue to do events, and you were always sending me videos or dialogues for feedback and how can I get better?
Yep.
You are the kind of person that I want to work with because I love seeing people who get results. Now you've launched an entirely new business and enterprise, which in how much time has it exploded already for you? Right?
7 months. It's been 7 months. I've already got 6 people on my team. I've already got tons of clients. In fact, I just hired 2 coaches to work with me, and I will probably hire 2 more in a couple months because I know how much business owners need this kind of stuff. And when you're passionate about it and you're not scared to get out there and tell people what you do, exactly like you said, right? Like next thing you know, people start coming in and, but yes, I actually thought of you when I was doing an international speaking event in London a couple months ago. And you know, they needed me to more than just the number. I was supposed to speak just twice, and I ended up speaking 4 times. They're like, hey, you did so great on the first day. Could you pop up here? We've got a slot to fill. I'm like, okay. And I literally wrote like something to talk about in like 15 minutes. And, you know, I kind of used from something in before, but
Right.
you know, that it's part of giving value. It's part of, you know, give them something, give them a benefit, an action plan. And I wasn't there to sell at all. I was just a speaker. And yet I had people coming up to me saying, how can I start working with you? And it was awesome. It was great. So.
And that is exactly, I mean, that's exactly what you want, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to sell. You just have people call you. How do I work with you? I heard about you. I want to work with you. You know, my business, you know, my consulting, I do no advertising. I don't do Facebook ads. I don't do Google ads. And if you want to work with me, you actually have to apply. It's not even like you can just give me money and I say yes. Because if you're, you know, a pain in my ass, it doesn't matter. You know, I've had people offer me tens of thousands of dollars to coach for a day. They're just nightmare people that I never want to even be around. And no, the answer is no. But you know, what you did, you've got, Kristen, by the way, you have an amazing set of skills for business organization and development. Not a lot of people are as skillful as what you do as you are. That being said, those skills are only as good as the people who know about them, right? If nobody knew about them, there'd be no business and you'd be trying to figure out what to do. But you have to get out there and tell people about it and let them know how you can help. It's really that simple. Just let them know how you can help and help them along the way.
Awesome. Well, so for if anybody else is on the fence or thinking about it, I left the little web address there, and it's also in the comments and such below. But I wholeheartedly would suggest if anybody wants to be a better speaker and wants to just learn to communicate better in general, get on the phone with Dennis. He's amazing. Definitely one of the rock stars that have helped me propel in the last 10 years. So Dennis, I want to thank you for jumping on with me today. Super fun to do this. Yeah. And I know that we've been able to give so many great nuggets that for those that sat and watched and listened, I hope they will take some of that and start implementing it.
I hope so too.
Yeah, absolutely. So excellent. Anything else before we sign off?
One last thing. One last thing.
Okay.
Listen, I don't care if you don't remember anything that I said today, or you don't use any of the strategies. I think you should. But no matter what you do, I'm going to encourage you, get in front of people and start sharing how you can help in whatever manner you care to, whatever venue you want to use, whether it's a Facebook Live like this, whether it's a webinar or a live event or any chance, let people know who you are. There's people out there that need your help. And it's just that fear of not looking good as a speaker. Listen, there are speakers out there that are getting rich and they're horrible. I know them and they're horrible, but they're out there, right? And that's it. Just get out there. Start talking to people. Start letting people know who you are, that you care, and how you help. And watch things start to grow. That's all you got to do.
There you go. Awesome.
Thank you, Kristen. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate you.
Okay. Bye, everyone.
Take care. Bye-bye.